All right, YouTube, stocks by their numbers. Welcome back. Quick update here again on SoundHound AI, ticker symbol SOUN here on the NASDAQ. Stock $2.13, down 31 cents right now, over 12.5% as we speak. And we recently broke this trend line that I spoke about, saying that this was going to be a key level. Now, a couple of things to look at. First of all, the stock right now at about 214, 215. As you see here, this was the initial, one of the initial bull flags, these technical patterns that we pointed out when we first started looking at the company. And you can see here at just about the top of the range now is where the stock is currently trading. So if they brought it back here, one of two things are going to happen. Either A, in my opinion, they're going to bounce it from here. B, they're going to bring it down to the bottom of this range, which started, as you see here, right side of your screen, about $1.90 a share. So you may be due for potentially another 10 to 12% pullback. Worst case scenario is going to be this bottom trend line that goes from this low at the end of 22 to that low January 10th and runs across. And as you see here, if that happens over the next couple of days, we're looking at $1.60 and change, potentially $1.70 before we find that bottom and bounce. So now, with this company offering more shares, that now increases the size of the float, which decreases the price of the stock. We know this. We know this. The problem is it might have been really, really shitty timing for a lot of you. And believe me, I've been in that boat. Again, the people in the Discord could attest, last couple of trades. I mean, I say black, it's white. I go up, it goes down. So believe me, we have all been there. It happens. We have to take our losses on the chin. As long as we do our research, we have high conviction, right? We're focused. We stay disciplined. We can most likely be much more successful than we do fail. And at the end of the year, at the end of 5, 10 years, we will be in a significantly better financial situation than we are in today. But long story short, what you guys want to know is what the hell's going on? Where's this son of a bitch going? Well, again, this was the main trend line that it needed to hold, about that low 240 level. And as you see, as it broke the trend line initially, it dropped lower. And you'll see it regained, and then today we dropped through the trend line, and then we just initially started to chunk down and go lower, because that was the support level. So that's why immediately in the short term, one of two things are going to happen. Either A, it's going to drop down to 190, or B, it is going to start trying to reclaim this trend line here and try to get back. And that may very well happen. As you see here, the RSI is actually off of the screen. That's how low it is. So RSI right now probably sitting at 20, sub 20. So should technically bounce off of that indicator. However, again, like we always say, you cannot just use one indicator. Oh, the RSI is low, it's going to bounce, I got to go all in. No, because again, we're dealing with trend lines and different support and resistance levels. So everyone and their brother may be staring at the screen knowing that this stock is going to pull back to sub $2 real quick. Meanwhile, you may be sitting there and saying, oh, the RSI's in the crapper, I'm buying, right? Meanwhile, meanwhile, you're going to wake up tomorrow, you're going to be down 10%, right? So what I would do is, in my opinion, if you have liquidity to add to the position and you're looking to average down, or if you have not taken a position and you're looking to take a position, I would advise you, in my opinion, to wait. You have to wait. Because see how now we broke this trend line and now we're here, right? And again, what the hell does here mean, right? So, again, it hit a low, where are we? It hit a low of 212, which could technically be viewed as the top of this, last resistance. So now it's new support, so it bounced off that and it's going to start going higher. Absolutely, very possible. However, I would wait for confirmation because, again, when we first looked at it here, when I gave you guys one of the more recent updates, I said this is the trend line, this is the key level. If it breaks, it's going lower. If it bounces up, it can go higher and try to get back to the top of the range. It broke, so it went lower. Right here in the middle of the range. If you were looking for advice, I could not have given it to you. Because when it's in the middle of a range like that, it can either go up or down. And technically, either move is justified. So now you're showing me down here, we have this trend line at about 240 that it needs to retrace. This one on the downtrend, now you're looking at about 232, 233 maybe in the next day or two if it tries to retrace and get above this orange trend line coming downward. But also, it could potentially slip and everyone could just short it and just beat the shit out of it, and they can bring it down to $1.60, $1.70. That is possible also. So, little words of wisdom here. If you have potentially 3, 4, 5 outcomes in a situation, as I just laid out for you, the advice is, in my opinion, is to do nothing. Because why force your way in at 217 when it could be 170? Why force your way in at 218 when it could drop down to $1.90? Why even if you think the bounce is going to happen, why force your way in here hoping that it climbs in the next day or two and regains above this trend line? Why not just wait for the confirmation? Just like with this trend line, again, going back here. Oh, it's right at the trend line. It might break. It might bounce. Oh, okay. I'm gonna buy more and go all in. It's gonna bounce. You are now predicting what the stock and what the market is going to do. And I said this in a recent video. A really, really good trader does not predict what the market is going to do or what a stock is going to do. A very good trader reacts to what a stock is going to do. So I promise you, there were traders out there who had the same trend lines I did, and when they saw the close below the trend line, they now had confirmation. They did not have to predict anything. They now reacted to what the stock did, and then they bet against it. And as you see, I mean, again, we went from 335, 340, now we're down to the low twos. So if they bought puts, they made out like a bandit. If they shorted the stock, again, you're up over 30, 35% immediately. That's why it is better to not try to be some sort of like stock savant and just, it hit 212 today. Oh, yeah, that's the bottom. It's definitely going to be up tomorrow. There are no guarantees in life, and saying something like that in a mid-range right here, ludicrous. So, in my opinion, I would wait for confirmation. I really would. If you own this up at like 350, 360, right, and you're looking to average down, I understand you want to get the lowest prices possible to lower the overall cost of the position down. Believe me, I totally understand that. But wouldn't you rather get in up here after confirmation that it's stable again at, 245, as opposed to, oh, you know what, I'm down a massive chunk on SOUN, I'm buying more here at 219, and then you wake up tomorrow and it's at like 177, right? You are going to feel that much worse about yourself, the market, the stock, the whole situation, your account. Should you get a job at IHOP, right? All of a sudden, all these thoughts start entering. Oh, should I just switch to the index? Or, oh, this is so freaking frustrating. Should I just, buy a mutual fund or something? This is why when we're looking at key levels, support, resistance levels, trending lines, you have to pay attention to all of this. The RSI, the MACD. Again, I know it's overwhelming. I know it's a pain in the ass. No one likes to do research. However, if I told you, if you made sure you knew every single iota of information out there on the position you're about to take, and I'm talking, you left no stone unturned. And if you do that, you will be correct 8 out of 10 times. You have to ask yourself, would you do it? And the answer obviously would be yes. So this is why I always say, listen, you want to just take a couple of bucks and roll the dice on a whim? Oh, Google's reporting earnings, I'm buying some calls. Or, oh, ABC went too high, so now it's going lower, I'm buying some puts. Listen, sometimes that feeling that you get, sometimes it does work out. It really does. However, to draw out the trend lines, check all the numbers, make sure the company isn't carrying too much debt. We see increases quarter over quarter, year over year on profitability margins on the EPS side. Increases on the revenue side consistently quarter over quarter, year over year. Oh, look, the operating margin is consistently getting better. Look, the operating expenses are, slowly going down. They're increasing their efficiency. You have to look at everything. And I'm telling you, if you were right 8 out of 10 times doing that, you would do it every single time. So right now we're looking at stock charts, and again, this is what I mean. See now the RSI down here at 31, so a lot of people might say that's a good indicator. MACD looking like absolute shit right now, just completely chunking down. The stock has broken the bottom Bollinger Band right now. Had a little bounce here now as we speak, up to 221, but again, I would wait for confirmation. We talked about potentially fighting to get back above this moving average here of roughly 252, and as you see, the stock opened up after closing below the moving average and opened up above that 257 mark. However, the short sellers and the put buyers were not convinced that that was enough, and obviously they just continued to beat up the stock, and you're seeing another 10-12% drop here today. So the RSI on the weekly, of course, is approaching that benchmark, and we could see that bounce. But again, technically, we are in between trend lines, so nothing is guaranteed. Even a situation like this, right? We just broke the 50-day moving average. We're kind of in the middle of the Bollinger Bands. The MACD just crossed on the weekly. Who knows? We could very well pull back to this 167 level before going higher. And the reason why, again, we don't know what's going to happen is because we're still kind of in the middle of a range here. We're in the middle of a range when it comes to the weekly, looking at the Bollinger Bands. On the daily, we're at the bottom of the range, but remember, it just started to chunk down, so these trumpeted open, so we don't even know where the low could be. And of course, if we switch over here, we can see we had a trend line 243, 245. Now we broke down to 220. We got another trend line down at 170. So now we're in the middle of a range, so now we don't know. So, listen, if this is something that you really believe in long term, you're going to be holding this for years, you have like some decent job or whatever, and you have some liquidity every week that you can just keep adding to it, obviously, that's phenomenal. The average person, though, I know, doesn't really have that much money, so you're probably hurting in this position. So, of course, when it's down here, if you do have the liquidity, consider adding to it once we get confirmation of some sort of stability level. On the flip side, though, if you don't have the liquidity to add to the position, let me just remind you of your mantra. You bought this for a reason. Remember why you bought it. Remember why you believed in the stock and you believed in the company. Remind yourself that there was going to be short-term volatility, and you are in this for the long term, not the short term. So you have to, this is why I always say, you have to stay focused, you have to stay confident, you have to keep your conviction. And, hopefully, big pullbacks like this will not sway you. Right now, the only positive catalyst going here are these earnings coming up. Again, August 8th, looking like after the close, EPS estimates of minus 11.7 cents on 8.067 million. So now, in my opinion, this company, again, kind of sporadic with their revenue, right? They'll come in, we slightly missed by a couple 100,000. Or they'll come in, estimates were 7.1 million, we posted, 8.2 million. Okay, random beats. So what they need here is a beat, obviously, right? But again, as we said, if this is a longer-term hold and the company is just kind of establishing themselves, just now trying to get out and increase their clientele and ship their service and their software off to more and more clients and companies, then again, that is going to be more for the longer term, and you have to know that you're dealing with volatility here in the short term. Because again, they could just flatten it out here. And then this company comes in with like 7 million, and then they tank it down to $1.65, $1.70. Or again, on the flip side, they flatten it out here. Maybe they try to ride it along this orange trend line, and then numbers come out. The company posts like 9.3 million. Boom. Then all of a sudden you have your pop back up to 250, 260. Now we're back retesting this trend line. Then we get above the trend line and we're bouncing, making support on the trend line. So now we know that we're slowly going to climb, and it's only a matter of time before we get back up to this trend line on the next positive catalyst. So I know it's mentally exhausting. Believe me, it is mentally exhausting. And anyone, I don't care if you're 18, I don't care if you're 70. If you start trading and investing and watching the market every day, then you are definitely stressing yourself out, taking a couple of days or months or years off your life. You're giving yourself more and more gray hairs as you go. But in the end, it can all be worth it. And again, we are dealing with a little bit of a speculative play. It may take several years, but if we turn around and this company is basically like the frickin' standard in the audio AI sector, you're not going to sit here and say, "Ah, fuck, I bought it at 335 and I remember it dropped to 220 before it made me money." It's not going to happen. So I know, kind of a mixed message. I'm all over the place, not exact directions, because again, it's not really showing me what it needs to here at the moment. So I would wait for confirmation. If you have a good job and you have liquidity coming in every Wednesday or every Friday, obviously you can just keep adding to the position on the way down. But I still do like SOUN, but as I said when we first looked at it, this is going to be volatile and uncertain in the short term, and it will most likely work out nicely in the long term. And I'm going to end it there. So once again, this is Stocks by the Numbers. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it down in the comments section. I'm usually very quick to reply. Like the video, thumbs up, algorithm, share the video, helps me get more eyes on the channel. Subscribe to the channel. That is our handshake agreement. You want to watch the content, ask me for these consistent updates. You want to throw random symbols out that you have an interest in. You want to come into Discord and you want to BS with our community, or you want to talk about some scalp trades, some day trades here on shares or options so everyone can make a couple of bucks. That's fine. I welcome all of it. All I ask, do me a favor. Help me help you. Push the subscribe button. That is how you take care of me. I see a lot of other channels of people really not knowing what they're talking about, giving their viewers really no direction whatsoever. And, these channels are just inevitably growing. And I got to tell you, it kind of breaks my heart, but it is what it is. So push the subscribe button, like the video. As I always say moving forward, I understand that markets are rocky and they're volatile and they're uncertain. So I do want to wish all of you success. I hope everyone makes a couple of dollars. Thanks for stopping by, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next vid.